Hi, Julio. Let's take a look at your essays. Sorry I couldn't get this to you sooner. I was extremely overwhelmed with some work obligations over the past few days. So let's get this to you now, though. We've got staying in the same job or switching. Let's see what you wrote. Nowadays, we live in a rapidly changing world, and young workers frequently jump from one job to another in a matter of months. The most striking fact is that they spend large amounts of time searching for other jobs even before handing in their resignation. However, there are a number of senior business people who firmly believe that commitment with your enterprise is pivotal, should be commitment to. It's pivotal to go up the career ladder. In my opinion, switching jobs along your career is critical to acquire new abilities and to know new aspiring colleagues. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your paragraphing. This is your introduction, right? And then we've got your body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and then your conclusion. Look at your introduction. It's actually longer than your body paragraph 1. And I want to explain to you why this is a problem. Because you're not really doing yourself any favors by writing a long introduction. What you want to do is you want to focus on the development of your ideas. And the development of your ideas happens in your body paragraphs, not in your introduction. So if you're hoping to get a high score for task achievement, the place to really focus your energy is on those body paragraphs. Instead, the introduction should do a couple of things. Number one, it should introduce the topic in your own words. Number two, it should present your opinion, your position, whatever. And your position is whatever the answer to the question or command is. Like the command here is, the question is, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay? So your introduction needs to do this. It needs to rephrase and then, in this case, say to what extent you agree or disagree. I felt like you had at least one sentence here that was too much. Like this one, for example. I would have left this out. This didn't add anything. It was just extra language that I think you could have used elsewhere. Okay? So this is how I would have done it. I would have gotten rid of this. But I'm very concerned about the fact that you've got a 3-line paragraph here. Let's see what you wrote in this paragraph. Firstly, numerous skills are required in the majority of jobs. Logically, it is quite hard to learn new abilities after many years at the same position. Indeed, some young workers end up running errands instead of taking on new responsibilities. Consequently, it seems reasonable to look for alternative working options so as to move up the so-called career ladder. All right, there's really so much more to say here. And I gotta be honest with it, I don't entirely understand the logic of what you're saying here. All right, so let's see what you could have done here. What are you trying to tell us? Are you trying to tell us that you... Here, let me tell you what I'm trying to do so you understand. I'm trying to see what the central idea of this paragraph is. In order to do well in coherence and cohesion, you must have a central idea, and it must be clearly understood. So, here, what are you actually telling us? Numerous skills are required. Okay, so what does that mean? How is this your central idea? Usually it's in that first sentence. Logically, it's hard to learn new abilities at the same job. And then I don't understand how this sentence helps your point. And then working for new options. So I don't really understand what you're telling us. It sounds like you want to tell us. Let me tell you what I understood. I think you're trying to tell us that when you switch jobs, you learn new skills. That's what I think you're trying to tell us. And so this is one of the benefits of switching jobs, because different offices, different corporations will use different software, have different processes and so forth. And so you get to learn new things. And this keeps your mind always sharp. This keeps you constantly developing, and that makes you a more attractive employee when you are in fact looking for the next job. So this is what I think you wanted to say. But as you can see, you didn't really say any of that here, did you? Okay, so this is something I want you to work on. Make sure that you have a central idea. Make sure that you have main ideas that support the central idea, and then that each main idea has some sort of explanation, example to support it. Let's keep going. Secondly, it is commonly agreed that working with different varied colleagues is an enriching experience. Okay, fine. On the contrary, No, that's not what you want here. You want in contrast. On the contrary is used differently. Old teams that work together for decades lack new ideas and often get used to their defects. As a result, an individual who stays forever at the same job will lose the opportunity to know other ways of working, distinctive viewpoints, and alternative strategies. Okay. For instance, medical doctors who work in the same hospital for a long time recognize that they hardly ever change the way they treat their patients. On the other hand, physicians who switch hospitals at least once a decade are commonly involved in research activities and are more prone to update their treatment strategies. All right, that's a good paragraph. This is what I wanted to see here. Okay? You had ideas, you supported them, it flowed really well. So that's what I want to see. Let's keep going. To sum up, moving from one job to another is an excellent opportunity to grow professionally. Not only, careful with your grammar here, not only does it represent a unique way to master new skills, but also allows workers to get inspiration from the new working place. From my point of view, this is the best advice I would give to a young worker. Fine. What you tried to do here was a grammatical structure called inversion, but it means that you have to do some things, you have to change some things around. It should be not only does it represent. If you're not sure about how to use inversion, look it up. It's a great thing to use in your essays because it's nice, kind of impressive grammar. Let's take a look at the crop production. Please do me a favor and include the image in your response. If that means you have to attach a Word document, then that's fine. But please include it because I absolutely need to refer to it. In a free market economy, it is essential to deeply analyze the production of a country. In the present graph, we can observe the harvest production in France in the year 2017, data shown in percentages. All right, get rid of this first. This is not an essay. It's a report on what you say. So this has no place here, okay? This is how you should have started. In the graph, we can observe, etc., etc. Or I have like a kind of catch-all phrase that I always like to use. I usually like to say, the diagram provided, or rather, the diagram provides information regarding harvest production in France in the year 2017. Done. Now, you have a conclusion here. Let's see. First, the cotton represents the most common good produced in this country, with roughly 1/3 of the production. Interestingly, don't use words like interestingly. You're not giving a judgment here. You're simply reporting. It is the only non-edible product in this chart. Secondly, we can see that sugar, wheat, and barley account for roughly 60% of the national production. Now, remember, this has to be at least 150 words, and I can't do a word count because it's in the email body, but it's definitely under that. And I can tell you really needed to stretch these out. Don't put them all in one sentence when you only have 7 things to talk about, okay? And I also don't really have a lot of details. I know that together they account for 60%, but is it 20-20-20? Is it like 30-20-10? So this is not particularly helpful for me. Finally, the rice and corn production are no. Please don't make judgments. We're not going to use words like ridiculous. It has to be finally, the rice and corn production were markedly less than the aforementioned categories at 3.5, 1.7 respectively. All right, we're not making judgments here. So there's no interestingly and there's no ridiculous. In conclusion, the chart shows the distribution of French crop production in one single year. While cotton is the first production from afar, corn represents the least common harvest. That's fine. Good. You didn't use any data, so that's good. But the rest of it does need some work. Okay? So one thing I would do here is I told you I would get rid of the sentence. No judgment. No, it's a report. So it has to be very objective language. Okay, it's a totally different kind of writing style than task 2. So I would have gotten rid of this sentence. I would have started here with this one, and then I would have stretched this out. You didn't have a lot of data, and so you need to stretch your data out. And then one thing I would do is I always recommend students put their overview right after the introduction. I have a handful of reasons why I do that. I can get into it if you would like, but that's my feedback there. All right, so let's see more work from you. I'm excited. Your language level is good. We need to work on some of those writing skills though, okay? So I'll be waiting for your next set. Good luck.